What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins, logging in to bring you your Brave Cross Hero of the Week. This week's Hero of the Week is the man with the mustache, Unrager. Unrager is considered as a front support hero with ratings of A for survivability, A for DPS, and S for support. His main skill is called the Demon's Curse, which he curses two targets with the highest rage, dealing damage equal to 247% of your ranger's attack for 8 seconds. Each attack has 80% chance to reduce the target's rage by 12. His basic attack damages 1 unit for 100% attack, reduces that target's rage by 6, and regains 4 rage. His main talents include the Fiendish Vanguard. When Unrager deals damage to Red Moss, the latter's rage is restored by 5, 120% damage when attacked by Red Moss, which he receives, and Red Moss is immune to Awakening's rage reduction. His received damage from other heroes is reduced by 15% and restores 0.7 rage. His attack speed 3, Rage 4, and HP 5 are all self-explanatory. Suppression 4 is his mythic ability. Suppression is basically a increased damage dealt to by 60% when he's attacking a unit who has less HP remaining than the attacker. Heroes 5 in Plum Forest are achieved once you get to 6 and 7 stars. As for his unity, Vanguard is currently unlocked when you get Dozer, and he gets 5% HP every 6,000 BP. Balance is currently locked, and High is also currently locked. So now that we've gone through the talents and skills, as always, let's go through the pros and cons. And as always, let's go through with the pros first. And the first thing that I would like to mention is, of course, his ability, Demon Curse. Now, Demon Curse only targets 2 targets with the highest rage, and it only deals 247% of your ranger's attack. Now, obviously, 247% is quite high if your ranger is, I guess, up to the max for his attack. Let's just put it that way. So this does for a total of 8 seconds. Now each attack has 80% chance to reduce the target's rage by 12. This is a very huge thing. So basically, for the 8 seconds, I believe it does tick for almost every second. So for the next 8 seconds, you'll be dealing, the damage, and for each of them, there's an 80% chance to reduce the target's rage by 12 each time. Now the tick is, I personally believe that it does tick for every second. Now watching and looking at the animation, it does seem to me that it does tick for every second. Now looking at the video, of course, it could be different, but I do believe it is every 1 second. So it ticks for about 8 times. So this basically reduces the rage quite a lot, and I do believe this is a good thing. Now 80% is huge, and some people might say, it's not 100%. There's the 20% chance that it won't, but in saying that, it is still quite a huge rage loss for your enemies. Now let's go through his talents. Now, of course, his basic attack, I would like to mention that too, because it does reduces the target's rage by 6, which is huge, and he regains 4 rage. Now let's go to Fiendish Vanguard. Fiendish Vanguard, there is some pro in this, and of course the majority of the first read through it, and is why do you even have this skill? But if you go through the first bit and go to the bottom bit, basically, he does get a reduced damage from other heroes by 15% and restores 0.7 rage. So it's still a good thing. And like I said, this is just the pros first, so let's go through it. That is the, I guess, the pro bit for the Fiendish Vanguard. And of course, Suppression 4 is pretty good because your Ranger is pretty tanky, so you get that 15% reduced damage from other heroes, and you get that rage gain. And Suppression, I guess you can take advantage of this. And I just have to say that the attack for your Ranger isn't actually, godlike, I would say. So his attack is about, I would say, about XMK3's Faded XMK3's attack. In saying that, the DPS is probably a little bit lower. I mean, he gets a little bit of attack speed, which is good, but I think with XMK3 he does AoE damage, so that's a big difference in DPS, defense wise and HP wise. And of course, he is a front hero, and even though it says front support, he is quite tanky, so you can definitely bring him to tank, even though it says he's not a front tank. There's a lot of misconceptions with that, I believe. Even when I say he's a front support, then does that mean he's not a tank? He's a front DPS. Does that mean he can't tank? Well, I personally think any melee hero can tank as long as you put a lot of resources in them. So excuse me, still not that well. So let's go through the cons, of course. Now let's go through the cons. Like I said, Fiendish Vanguard is there's a lot of cons in this, especially when you're dealing with Red Mask. So basically, when you're Unrager, I like to call him Uranger, but it's Unrager. So when he deals damage to Red Moss, the latter's rage, which is Red Moss, is restored by 5, and 120, he gets plus 120% damage when attacked by Red Moss. Huge thing. And Red Moss is immune to the Awakening's rage reduction as well. So this is a lot of bad things, especially when you're dealing with Red Moss. And so I guess the most obvious way to go around it is, of course, not fight Red Moss with your Ranger, Unrager, whatever. So I would say that is probably, I guess, the biggest con for Unrager. And I would say getting the shards, they're pretty easy. So I mean, the only other thing I can think of is, of course, the DPS isn't that great, but there is a lot of support for him. So in saying that, it sounds like Unrager doesn't really have a lot of cons, and I do kind of agree. So my final thoughts for Unrager is basically this. So for PvE, he is a good tank. However, there aren't a lot of cases that you will bring him to a PvE mode. Of course, you can bring him for Dominion floor. He is a good tank. He can tank, and I do believe that he can take quite a hit, especially if you put resources in him. And I would say he shines more in PvP because of his ability to take the rage out of the targets. Now, granted that you must get Enrager's rage to go I guess he should go first. Like when he uses the awakening, he should awaken first in order for you to maximize the skills ability, Demon's Curse, basically. If you don't, basically it's kind of useless, because I mean they've already used it, and I guess if it is a strong fight, like a long struggling fight, then Demon's Curse would probably be more helpful. But if the enemy is like big on DPS and can kill you in the first awakening, basically it's kind of useless. I guess that you can add that to the con. Basically, you know, it's a little bit of a setback, I guess, for the Demon's Curse. But I do believe that most of the time you can put Enrager or Uranger in a position where he will use it first, and I guess that's up to you for you to work around that. In PvP, especially in 3 versus 3, is I think where Uranger really shines. But in 5v5, there's a little bit of thing there, because you can definitely get swamped with DPS. But 3 versus 3, Demon's Curse is pretty strong, and I think I'll leave the video with that. Please remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I would like to hear from you guys what you think of your Ranger or Unrager if you are using him, and what you think of him. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll leave you guys with the rest of the lair video.